Tell me if this sounds like you. Every time you start something with full motivation, you tell yourself that this time is going to be different. You make a plan, you set goals, maybe you even tell other people about it, like the 30-day challenge that we started at the beginning of this month. Then the first few days, you are crushing it. You are on fire. Then a few days in, maybe a few weeks in, life happens. One stressful day, one missed session, one excuse, and then suddenly you are back where you started. Another habit dead in the water. How do I know this? Because I have been through this cycle so many times, it is embarrassing. I have struggled to stick to workouts, to diets, to manage my money, to stay productive, to follow through on the simplest of habits. And every time I failed, I blamed myself, obviously. Maybe I didn't have enough willpower, maybe I was not disciplined enough. But the true reason that we struggle to stay consistent is not because of laziness or lack of willpower or lack of discipline. It's because the system that we are using is broken. But once I figured out how to set the right systems, everything changed. Now I am very consistent with my habits and quite effortlessly. So if you are in the same boat, if you have been struggling to stay consistent, if you have failed to complete the 30-day challenge, this video is your turning point. I am going to tell you exactly why you keep failing and how to finally fix it. And I'm sorry if your attention span is short and you are used to fast cuts and edits, you are not going to find that here. If you are serious about changing your life, you have to be able to push through a 20-minute video. With that, let's get started. Now, most of us, we think that inconsistency or not being able to stay consistent is a personality flaw, something that only lazy or weak-willed people struggle with. But what if I told you that your inability to stay consistent is actually a programmed response, something that your brain has learned to do over time? From the moment that you're born, you start absorbing information. Your brain is like a sponge. It records everything. The way that your parents reacted to stress, how adults handled failure, what your environment taught you about success, about discipline, about effort. So if you grew up in a household where people started things but they never finished them, your brain learned that that was normal. If you were rewarded for small efforts but you were never pushed to follow through on them, you learned that showing up inconsistently was good enough. If you were criticized or punished for making mistakes, your brain now associates effort with fear. And the scary part is that most of this programming, most of this subconscious thinking happens before you even turn 10 years old. So every time you try to be consistent, whether it's with working out or building a skill or changing your habits, your subconscious mind, it pulls you back to what feels familiar. It does not matter if that familiar pattern is probably ruining your life. Your brain clings onto it because that is what it knows. This is why no matter how much you try, no matter how much motivation you start with, you keep falling back into old patterns. Now, the deeper reason that this happens is because when your brain is storing all of this information, it is not just storing thoughts, it is storing emotions. And emotions are way more powerful than logic. You can tell yourself all day long that consistency is good for you, but if your body, if your mind is programmed to associate consistency with stress, with failure, with exhaustion, you are going to resist it. That is why you can know exactly what you need to do, but you're still not able to do it. You plan to wake up early, but the moment your alarm rings, your body remembers how good it feels to sleep in. You decide to eat healthy, but when you're stressed, your brain craves the comfort of junk food. You promise yourself that you will study, you will work on your side hustle, but when you start doing that, your subconscious mind pulls you towards distractions because those feel easier. You want to change, in your heart of hearts you do, but if your body and your mind is still operating on old software, old learnings, you are never going to be able to. So unless you learn how to break free from this old cycle, you will always feel like consistency is a battle that you cannot win. So how exactly do you break free from this? I'm going to share 6 habits and 6 simple hacks that have basically helped me become a lot more consistent in life, that have made consistency super easy for me. And I know that these are going to help you too. Let's go. The first thing you need to do is start by creating an identity shift. This is the most important factor in your journey. If you want to be consistent, you need to stop focusing on what you need to do and you need to start focusing on who you need to become. Because consistency is less about action, it is more about identity. Your habits are not just actions, they are an extension of who you believe you are. This is why people who believe they are fit are always working out. That is why people who believe that they take care of their body are naturally healthy eaters. So until you change your internal identity, no amount of willpower, no amount of discipline will make you consistent. This is the reason that every day you wake up and unconsciously repeat the same behaviors as the day before. You think you want to change, but deep down your brain is addicted to who you have always been. So how exactly do you rewire your identity? You break the pattern of disordered thinking. Start by changing the stories that you tell yourself. So whatever habit you want to be consistent in, change your narrative there. So instead of somebody who tries to go to the gym, you are the kind of person who never skips a workout. Instead of somebody who's trying to be healthy, you're the kind of person who fuels their body properly. Instead of trying to stay productive, you are the kind of person who always follows through on their word. When you create these statements and you start with just statements, it can just be a simple statement. I am somebody who follows through on my promises. You stick it on a mirror, you read it out aloud every single day. When you do this, you slowly start to reprogram your subconscious. Another thing you can do is that whenever you feel the urge to quit any habit that you've started, just pause and observe why you are getting that urge. Is it because you are overwhelmed? Is it because you're tired? Is it because it's boring? Once you understand why you are getting the urge to quit or not follow through on what you've started, you need to remind yourself that that is your old programming running. It's not your current version. It's not your reality. It's not the person you want to become. You don't have to listen to it. So instead of running away from this resistance that you feel, you basically remind yourself that discomfort is not a threat. It's just a sign of you running on old programming. And that if you sit with it long enough, you will be able to interrupt that cycle. Another thing that I want you to try is go back and look at your past attempts of trying to build consistency in a new thing, okay? And just try and find the point where you tend to quit most often. Is it one day after you started the challenge? Is it a week after you started, that habit? Is it somewhere in between? And I promise you there is a pattern there. Once you find out when it is that you usually tend to quit, you basically go ahead and create a bare minimum rule for that time. So let's say that you found out 1 week into starting a new thing is usually when your motivation dips and you tend to give up on that thing. So at the end of that week, create a 5-minute show up rule, okay? Where you don't have to do the full habit. You just have to do it for 5 minutes. And 5 minutes, it might take you to get up from your bed to go to the kitchen and drink water. That's how little time that is. You just have to show up on the 8th day for 5 minutes. And you can continue showing up on the 9th day, on the 10th day, on the 11th day for 5 minutes till you get into the groove and till you have gone past that breaking point so that you don't fall off the wagon. Your mind and your body are going to resist at first. It is going to feel uncomfortable, but the more you override your old programming, the weaker that old programming becomes. Now, the second thing I want you to do here is to stop negotiating with yourself. Make that habit that you're trying to be consistent in a non-negotiable. You see, what happens is that every time you give yourself an option to do something, you're basically giving yourself room for failure. So when you wake up and debate whether you should go to the gym or not, the battle is already lost. Your brain will find excuses. I'm too tired. Oh my God, I'm too sleepy. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I'll go later. Today is not a good day. Things like that. But consistency becomes so much easier when you remove the negotiation process entirely. Some things in your life, like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, bathing every day, I'm hoping, are automatic. You do them every day regardless of whether you want to or not. You don't wake up and wonder, should I brush my teeth today? No, you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth. So to be consistent in anything in life, you need to treat each of those things like this, like it's automatic. So if you commit to working out 3 times a week, then it is happening no matter what, whether you feel like it or not. No negotiations, no mental debate, just action. So you set yourself up beforehand. Maybe you set out your clothes, the night before. Maybe you meal prep, you book classes. Do whatever you need to do to make the thing as concrete as possible so that there's no wiggle room for you to get out of it. Instead of saying, I will work out 3 times a week, set the days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m. right after waking up. Set the time, set the place, and then follow through. Another way that you can do this is by treating your habits like antibiotics, right? If your doctor prescribes you antibiotics, you take them exactly as instructed. You don't just decide to skip a day of taking antibiotics because you're tired or not in the mood. Why? Because if you do, the medicine stops working, you will develop antibiotic resistance and your infection will stay or become worse. Habits work in the same way. Every time you skip a session, every time you skip that habit that you are trying to build, you actually weaken the pattern your brain is trying to build. And then when you miss enough days, your brain forgets that habit completely, forcing you to start from scratch. So treat your commitments like taking medicine. This is an analogy that has worked really, really well for me. It is not optional, it is not flexible, it is not mood-based. And when you think about it this way, you stop skipping things because you don't feel like it. And you don't have to continue with this analogy for life, right? You only have to continue with it till the point where you're past resistance. After that, it becomes automatic. It's already a part of your life. You no longer have to think about it like medicine. Now, the third thing I want you to do here is become extremely, extremely greedy with your mental energy. Decision fatigue is something that kills habits more than anything else. You wake up with a limited amount of mental energy every single day. Every decision you make during the day, what to wear, what to eat, when to work out, drains that energy little by little. By the time that you get to the habits that you are trying to build, your brain is already exhausted. That is why it's so easy for you to scroll on Instagram for hours, but so hard to get yourself to write, to study, to work out. So to protect your energy, you basically need to do two things. One, whatever you're trying to build, try and do it right away after you wake up, right? So if you're trying to build a workout habit, do it right in the morning. If you're trying to build a writing habit, do it right in the morning. If you're trying to study with more focus or become consistent with a studying pattern, do it right after you wake up. That way, your mental energy reserves are full and they're being used for the thing that you want to do the most. And the other thing you want to do is eliminate unnecessary decisions in your life. So sit down with a pen and paper, make a list of all of the things that you have to do throughout the day, and then ask yourself how many of these things can you automate, how many of these can you delegate, and how many of these can you batch. For example, deciding what to wear for your office or your workout, you can decide all of your outfits for the week in one single hour. What to eat every single day, you can create a diet chart, you can meal prep stuff for that diet chart on a Sunday so that you're sorted for the entire week. You can schedule your workouts like you schedule your meetings. Set your time, set your location, and then you don't have to decide whether to go for it. When you automate things in this way, you leave a lot of energy to do the things that actually matter. And this is so powerful, I cannot even begin to tell you. Ever since I started meal prepping, ever since I have, pre-decided what my workouts are going to be for the month, it is just so much easier to get up and just do that thing without having to think about it. Now, the fourth thing I want you to do here is to make your task smaller. This is the trick that actually saved my fitness routine. One of the biggest reasons that people fail at consistency is because they usually focus on the end goal, which seems like this monumental task which is too far into the future to care about now. And all of this is happening subconsciously because our brain is programmed to associate effort with pain, with resistance. And so we want to rely on what's pleasurable right now rather than, focusing on what could be pleasurable in the future. But the way that you can circumnavigate this is by breaking that goal into smaller routines. I finally understood this when I was struggling to stay consistent with my workouts. So I wear a fitness tracker, the Apple Watch. And on this, what you can basically do is set a calorie burn goal and a workout time goal. And, a standing goal, which is how many hours in the day you are getting up to stand. So I had set my calorie burn goal to 600 active calories per day and my workout to 60 minutes of working out per day. And while that does not seem like a lot, when I was busy, it was a struggle to even take out an hour for workout, because an hour for workout means 15 minutes going to the gym, working out for an hour, 15 minutes coming back, 30 minutes taking a shower. So it's a 2.5 hour ordeal and not just an hour, right? So I wouldn't really achieve my workout goal or my calorie goal, and that became very demotivating. Eventually, it was so demotivating that I stopped working out altogether. I stopped the calorie tracking feature and I was like, this is too much. But then I was watching something on YouTube and this person said something about setting small goals, and I realized, hey, I can do that with my workout as well. I can do that with creating a smaller goal for my fitness routine. So what I went and did, I edited the inputs to reduce my burning calories down to 300, my workout time down to 30 minutes, and it suddenly became so much more manageable. It felt stupidly easy. And the thing is that once I started doing it, so if I went for a 30-minute workout, I could do an hour easily because it was not a mental resistance there. And when I started working out, I easily could burn over 300 calories anyways. And this works for everything. So if you struggle to work out, commit to doing it just for 5 minutes. If even 30 minutes feels like a stretch. If you want to write, start by writing one paragraph. If you want to drink more water, take, half a glass of water before every meal. By lowering the bar for what you have to do right now, you remove resistance completely. And there is this bar. You just have to find where your body and your mind stop resisting. Where is that bar? It could be, 1 minute of working out a day. And that's it right now. But that's okay. That's still better than not working out at all. And once you put that in place, so once you start showing up for 1 minute every day or 5 minutes every day, once that habit is in place, you are automatically able to scale up without even trying. So once I set that bar down to 30 minutes and 300 calories, I was automatically working out for an hour, 45 minutes every single day. I was naturally burning more calories without having to put mental effort into it. The next thing, and this is a very, very important mindset shift, is to remember that success is borrowed, not owned. You have to keep paying rent. When we are starting to become consistent in something, we often try because we have an end goal to achieve, right? I'm working out because I want to lose weight. I'm staying productive because I want to pass that exam, or I want to, get an appraisal in office. And once we achieve that goal, we think we're just going to stop. I have to just reach that goal and then I can relax. That is the mindset that we have going into consistency. But the catch is that success is not permanent. It is a result of consistent actions. If you stop taking that action, your success in that field fades. It's like rent. You don't just pay for 1 month and get to live there forever. You have to keep paying rent. So if you stop working out, your progress fades. If today I have started working out and eating in a calorie deficit to lose weight, if tomorrow I've achieved that weight and I give up on this and I go back to my old habits, I'm going to gain back the weight. And this stands true for everything in life. If you stop creating content, your audience is going to forget about you. If you stop working on your writing, a year down the line, you are going to forget the basics of writing. Think about the fittest people you know. They work out regardless of their fitness level or their weight. The most successful entrepreneurs still put in the work. They don't stop once they just hit an arbitrary goal, because success is not something you own. It's something you maintain, which is why you need to see consistency as a lifestyle, not a temporary push. This is why shifting your identity and looking at yourself like a consistent person is so important. This is why it's so important to keep showing up daily, even if it is just for 5 minutes. When you stop, you don't just pick up from where you left off, you start from the beginning. And that is so much harder to do. But how exactly do you make sure you don't stop? How do you stop yourself from quitting? This is where tip number 6 comes into play, which is hacking your dopamine to make consistency more fun. If you continue to obsess over your results, you are eventually going to either burn out or you are going to quit once you get those results. Like I explained in the weight loss example. If your only goal is to lose 10 kgs, you will try to get there as quickly as possible and then fall off the wagon once you are done. Or you're going to quit when it stops feeling exciting. So instead of doing that, you need to find ways to make the process so much fun that you stop worrying about the end result completely. Yes, maybe your consistency starts out with a bigger goal in mind, but your aim should be to find that thing that makes the process in itself super fun for you. For instance, instead of just obsessing over the goal of losing 10 kgs, if you find workouts that you actually enjoy, if you join groups and classes where you meet people with similar energies, or you watch your favorite show while you're, walking on a treadmill, this way you are not just going to work out, you're doing a fun activity that also includes fitness. Similarly, if you struggle to sit down and study, but you join a study group or make your notes aesthetic, you add that fun element to the process of studying, so you're getting excited to get up and do it. This way, progress becomes very automatic for you without you facing a lot of mental resistance. You are just giving your brain the right incentive. And I actually learned this trick from my boyfriend, who is very, very particular about making things fun. His motto in life is to do things that bring him joy. And as a result of doing that, every process, whether it's work or working out, is fun for him. And that's such a beautiful thing to experience. It's been very easy to incorporate into my life as well. So now that you know how to be consistent realistically, it's time to put all of the learnings into action, and which is where your homework comes in. So this is what I want you to do right after watching this video. You're going to pick one habit that you want to be consistent in. Then you're going to shrink it down to make it effortless. So if working out is your habit, you have to do your bare minimum exercise. So that's 5 minutes of working out every single day. If you show up for that, you've showed up for your workout, right? When you have the energy and the time, you do more of it. When you don't have the energy and the time, you just do 5 minutes of it. Then you are going to write an affirmation that aligns your identity with that habit. And the next thing you're going to do is find a way to make that habit, to make that process fun. Go do your research on Pinterest, on YouTube, Instagram, wherever. Figure out how you can make that activity fun. And then you're going to commit to undertake that habit, undertake that activity for 7 days without any negotiations. The key to consistency is not discipline, it is setting up your life so that showing up is the easiest option, and often it just requires this one mental switch. And that was it for this video. I hope you guys found value. I hope you took away something from it. If you found it valuable and you think somebody else needs it, make sure you share it with them. And make sure you go check out this video next because YouTube says you're gonna love it. And I'm gonna see you guys very, very soon in the next one.